Good afternoon. Today we are continuing with our proportions and ratios, and we are working on PO32. It's a PO. This is a power objective. I can solve a proportion. Using equivalency and cross products. So we've done finding equivalence in the past. We've done cross products in the past. Now we're just looking at them with proportions to find our missing part of the proportion. So up until now, your work with ratios and rates has been primarily with values that work out evenly. That is, you can use equivalency, equivalent fractions, to solve them. This objective will focus on proportions that do not have a whole number scale factor. So if we can't say, oh, I multiplied this side by 6, so I'm going to multiply the numerator by 6, I'm going to multiply the denominator by 6. It's not going to be easy whole numbers like that. So we're going to find some different ways that we can solve this. Hooray for cross products. We're going to solve each proportion using cross products. Show your work, round decimal answers to the nearest tenth. And I have a little note in my book that he said that he took this part out. So do you not have that in your book?
No, we do not have that.
Okay, so ignore this.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, we do.
Where? We don't have on the top. Grayson.
Fine, guys. So what you are going to do, because he took out, see numbers 3 and 4 below, he took out 3 and 4. So cross it off on your paper just like I crossed it off on mine. Okay, so you do have it, cross it off, because he took out that numbers 3 and 4. So what I did up here, do on your paper. We don't need that. So let's look at our problem and see how we're going to use cross products. If we have 12 thirteenths equals 30 over n, how do you think we're going to multiply? Knowing what we know about cross products, what are we going to multiply together? Think about what cross products look like, Olivia.
13 and 30.
13 and 30, because they are part of it. So what's on the other side of our equal sign?
12.
Keep going with it. 12 times what? 12n. So now, what do you think we're going to do first to solve this equation? Damien.
You are going to divide, or no, get the answer to the 13 times 30.
Yes. So we're going to keep that 12n right now, and we're going to figure out what 13 times 30 is. What is 13 times 30? Jude? 390. Now, Damien said, oh my goodness, that's a one-step up equation there. And I want to get n by itself. So if it's 12 times n, what is the opposite, Damien?
5.
So we're going to divide both sides by 12. What is 390 divided by 12? Madden. 32.5. So we are going to be working with, some of them will have decimals. Not necessarily all of them, but some will have decimals, and that's okay. Some will be whole numbers, and that's okay. Let's look at our next one. How am I going to set up my equation? Because remember, we always show our work. So we're going to show the work that we're doing. Everything that I'm writing out here, you need to be writing on your binder page. Grace, how am I going to set up the next one?
15 times 8
So what's my next step? Lately.
You do 15 times 8.
What is 15 times 8?
120.
120 equals, oops, 21n. So now what do I do? Because I want to get n by itself, what do I have to do? Addie,
Divide 120 by 21.
I need to divide both sides by 21. 21 divided by 21 is 1n. 1 times anything is just itself, so I don't have to write the 1. What is 120 divided by 21? James.
5.71428571.
Yeah. And remember, when we have lots of decimals, we round to the 100th place. When you have lots of decimals, rounding to the 100th.
You said round to the 10th.
It says 10.
Yeah.
That'd be
5.7.
So each proportion show you work
well, that wonderful Mr. Schultz rounded it to the 100th place. So if you round it to the 100th because you're so used to rounding to the 100th, I would understand. On the test, though, it is going to be whatever the direction says. So it should be 5.7 because I do mark it wrong on the test if we do not follow the directions. So I'm going to change this. Last year's group must not have seen that that was wrong. Interesting. All right, next one. How do I set it up? Claire.
10 times 27 was 15n.
What is my first step?
Do 10 times 27.
Which is,
270.
and we want to get n by itself, so what do I have to do? Claire? Divide both sides by 15. What is 270 divided by 15? Claire? 18. One last one we're going to work on together. How am I going to set it up? Olivia.
Start with 18 times 88 equals 33 times n. 33n. 33n.
So what do I do next? Christian,
18 times 88.
which is,
458.
and that equals my 33n. What do I do next?
I divide by 33.
Divide both sides by 33. So I get n by itself. What is 1,584 divided by 33? Ramy. 48. So that's using those cross products. So now we have some word problems. We're going to set up our word problems the same way. So let's see how we do that. Just because they are word problems doesn't make them scary and hard.
That's kind of
Your famous gravy recipe. Have you noticed how a lot of my questions have to do with food? That Mr. Schultz, he really likes his food. So Mr. Schultz has lots of food questions. Thank you to my friends for being calm and quiet. This is a math lesson that we should be focused on. How many batches will we need in order to make? How many batches would you need to make in order to have enough for all 27 people coming to Thanksgiving? Whew. So if our gravy recipe can feed 6 people, how many batches will we need to make? So one batch is for 6 people. What is that proportion, that ratio? If one batch is for 6 people, how would I write that? James?
1/6.
One batch, remember labels are important, for 6 people. let's make it our proportion. What does that equal to? What should I write, Emerson?
1/6.
It is 1/6, but think about the proportion. Think about what we were doing up on top. We want to know how many batches we have to make for 27 people. So we want to know how much we need to multiply all of our ingredients by. Blakely?
27
So think about what our measurements are. This is why I said we have to put our measurements on it so we know where things go. 27, is that a batch or is that people? People. So we want to put the 27 people right across from the 6 people. So that's why I say you need to use your labels so we make sure to set it up right. We want to know, our question mark is how many batches. So that would be our N. Our question mark is the N, that variable. So how do I solve this now? Now it's set up just like up top. How do I solve it, Gabe?
I did 6 divided by 27. This got me 4.5.
27 was the
So let's show it the way that we were doing on top, Gabe. So tell me what the equation would be. So you got there, you just skipped a couple of steps because we had a 1 in there. So we had 1 times 27 equals 6n. So 27 times 1 we know is 27. So you did that first step in your head. And then you knew, oh, I have to divide by 6. So 27 divided by 6 got you the 4.5. And we need to put our label on it. We know that those are batches. 4.5 batches. So I just want you to know, Gabe, that it's not always going to be so simple with the 1. So you need to know what that first step was.
How would you make 4 batches when you round up and make 5 batches?
Do you want a lot of leftover gravy?
Yeah.
Do you know how to make half a batch?
No.
If something calls for a cup of flour and you want to half it, you would need half a cup of flour. So when you're working in the kitchen, Lucas, it's okay to do half a batch because you can do those calculations. That's why we do this, because it will help you with everyday life. You're going to do the next 2 word problems on your own. Well, actually, let's do the grapefruits together. So, 8 grapefruits. Oh, thank you, friends, for being quiet. 8 grapefruits. Lots of food problems. Cost $6. 8 grapefruits cost $6.32. How much will 13 grapefruits cost? How am I going to set this up with my proportions? Because I want to use my cross products. Jude.
You do 8 grapefruits over $6.32.
Equals what, Jude?
Equals 13 grapefruits over
That N, that variable, is our question mark, what we're wanting to figure out. So then, now that I have my proportion, how do I solve that with cross products? Damien?
You do $6.32 times 13.
Equals what?
Equals $82.16.
No, so remember with the cross products, Damien, we've got this part and then we have this part. So we want to finish off our equation here. $8, 8 grapefruits times N. Okay, so using the cross products is what I was trying to get at. So you did the next step, $6.32 times 13 gives me what, Damien?
$6.32
Times 13.
13 equals, was it 82 and 16, yeah.
82.16?
Yeah.
And that equals 8n. So how do I get n by itself? I'm going to divide it by 8. What is $82.16 divided by 8?
I don't know.
And if you put that on the test, are you going to get credit for it? Nope. So it sounds silly to say now, but it makes you have to do a retake on the test. Grace. Say it a little louder for me, Grace. $10.27. For every 30 minutes you swim, you burn 550 calories. How long will you have to swim to burn 875 calories? What does my proportion look like? Emerson.
30 minutes over 55 calories.
550 calories.
I knew what you meant. Equals what?
N over 875.
So how do I set up my cross products? Fiona?
875 times 30, and then 550.
What is 875 times 30? Fiona?
26,000.
Oh, go ahead, Asher.
26,250.
That equals the 550n, so I want to divide by my 550. What is 26,250 divided by 550? Kyle? 47.7, because he now wants us to do it in tenths. So we can do 47.7 minutes. Addie, did you have a question on that one? Addie, what did you get for 30 times 875?
Let me re-put it over.
Okay. Ben,
48.81.
what did you get for 875 times 30?
26850.
Yeah, I got 26250.
Yeah. See?
So I think, yep, I think you put something in wrong to get that 850. Any questions on using cross products? So let's look at our page number 2. Thank you to my friends that are remaining silent, because I am recording this, picking up all of your voices. Respect, my friends. So, rounding answers to the nearest tenth. Okay, so I am going to be looking for our rounding to the 10th place. Using your cross products, I want you to show your work. I do not just want to see an answer. I want you to show the steps. Then at the bottom, you don't have to show the steps, but you do have to show the proportion. So on the bottom, you do have to show the proportion. Then you can just solve it and give me the answer, but show your proportions. If you finish before class is done, remember we have Khan Academy due on Thursday. I have a portion of the class that it got 100% on their Khan Academies already, and then I have a whole lot that haven't even started. Khan Academy is due Thursday night. If you have missing Khan Academy and you get that done, you must send me an email when it's done in order to get any credit for it. Okay? Math packets, I'm going to be correcting the math packets that have been turned in. If you haven't turned it in yet, be working on those math packets. If you are watching at home, I hope you are well. I hope to see you soon. Have a wonderful day.